Aylesbury's top stories in and around Aylesbury on Aylesbury News. Ambulance crew and police heard escaped horses in Stoke Mandeville. Paramedics had a slightly different job to do in Stoke Mandeville last night. Ambulance crew Jules, Leisl and Kamil were driving along Lower Road, Stoke Mandeville at around 8:15 p.m. yesterday evening when they were met by 3 escaped horses running towards them. With help from members of the public, they herded the horses into a car park of the Bell and sealed the entrance with their vehicles to prevent the horses and members of the public being injured. With the help of Thames Valley Police, 2 owners were tracked down and successfully returned with their animals. A spokesperson for South Central Ambulance Service said, "Thanks to the staff at the Bell for the grass and carrots." For the horses, obviously. Taxi catches fire on the main Tring road. A taxi has been engulfed in flames in Tring. Hertfordshire Fire Rescue were called to Western Road this morning. They actually had 17 calls about the fire on one of the main routes in town. The fire was put out using one hose reel. Video shows shocking conditions at Buck's Chicken Farm. A video and photos from a chicken farm in Buckinghamshire have been branded shocking by campaigners. PETA have alerted and the Advertising Standards Authority ASA after a new expose revealed chickens suffering and dying allegedly on a Stukely farm. It supplies Faxender, the UK's second largest chicken producing company, which sells birds to Asda, Lidl and Nando's, and claims to guarantee the welfare of the animals on its farm. The footage filmed in Buckinghamshire last year shows tens of thousands of chickens crammed into filthy barn sheds. Many have lost their feathers, likely because of ammonia burns from the birds, up of excrement and stress from the extreme crowding. Others appear to have injured or deformed legs as a result of being bred and fed to grow so unnaturally large that their legs can't support their own body weight. The bodies of their birds are strewn across the floor, left to rot among the living. This isn't the first time that a farm supplying Faxender has been exposed for cruelty to animals, according to the PETA. In 2017, Animal Equality released footage captured at a supplier in Somerset that showed workers kicking chickens and one dumping a live chicken into a wheelbarrow full of dead birds before returning an hour later to break the chicken's neck. PETA says, shockingly, Faxender continues to use this farm as a supplier. The group say this new expose proves beyond doubt that Faxender claims to have a zero tolerance attitude towards anything that jeopardizes the health and well-being of the animals in our care. It's false and misleading. PETA is urging the ASA to investigate the company and has also reported the Buckinghamshire farm to the RSPCA. A Nando's spokesperson said, "Animal welfare is as important to us as it is to our customers, and we work closely with our suppliers to make sure that all our chickens are bred barn raised and red tractor standards. All our chicken suppliers are regularly audited by an independent auditing company, and we will only ever source from farms that meet to our animal welfare expectations." Faxender said to clear some things up about the allegations. the chickens have not lost feathers. As a bird grows, the yellow down the hatches with its gradually replaced with white feathers. The birds in the film are going through that transition. That is why the older birds have more feathers and there are none on the floor in any of the footage. The poster of a sitting bird is not a reliable indicator of leg health on its own. It is quite common for birds to stretch out a leg or adopt a seemingly uncomfortable position whilst resting, but be able to get up and easily move around when it wants. It's just a question of waiting and observing long enough. You might observe similar practices in household pets like cats and dogs. This is not a windowless shed. All of our chicken farms were fitted with double glazed windows prior to the date of filming. The footage shows sheds with shutters closed, which may have been necessary for a number of reasons, as they are one variable that they adjust and control to manage the environment of the birds inside. PETA's description of the slaughter process is not an accurate account of what happens in their abattoir, where Faxender have been using controlled atmosphere killing, one of the most humane methods available for at least the last 4 years. They added that despite PETA claiming to have identified Bumblefoot, the company's vet has never seen it on a chicken from one of their farms in the 3.5 years he's been with them. A spokesperson added, all of the farms operated to standards above the EU and UK legislation. They are independently audited and visited on a regular basis by an external vet to moderate birds' health and welfare. This footage is 12 months old and a number of changes have already taken place on the farm. We pledge high expectations on our people when it comes to looking after the birds in their care. If they fail to meet our standards, then they will not manage one of our farms. And finally, viral video shows alleged bullying cops in Aylesbury. A video allegedly showing police abusing the Terrorism Act in Aylesbury has gone viral. It is from back in 2015, just before the EDL march here in Aylesbury. A man has been filming in the town and has an argument with police over giving his details. Thames Valley Police say the complaint was resolved 2 years ago. A spokesperson said, "We are aware of the YouTube video showing a member of our officers dealing with a member of the public in Aylesbury Town Centre, which we believe filmed in October 2015. A complaint was made to the force in November 2015 in relation to the incident. This was resolved to the satisfaction of the complainant in January 2016. So here's the video in full.
We're filming everywhere. The films.
Do you want to just show me what you've been recording then?
No,
possible?
I don't have to.
You don't have to, no?
No.
You got any details on you at all?
No, I don't have to provide any.
Okay, so do you not work for a newspaper or anything?
I don't have to disclose that.
Glenn?
Why are you recording then? For what reason?
I don't have to disclose that because
Okay.
I'm in a public place. I'm filming in public.
Well, you know what's happening soon. We're just being...
I've no idea what's happening.
We've just been asked to find out who you are, sir, that's all. Not a problem.
I'm not going to disclose that, I'm afraid,
For what reason?
because I choose not to.
Okay. The gentleman refused to give any details whatsoever or tell us who he's working for.
Okay, what's the problem with giving any details?
Because I don't have to give any details.
Okay, why are you filming? Obviously from
I've explained why I'm filming. It's just for posterity. It's just because I'm a photographer. It's what I do.
Okay, for who?
For myself.
Okay.
As I've come over, your camera's specifically pointed on my colleagues over there.
Oh, well, if you've been watching me, you've seen that I filmed
No,
loads
I've
of
watched
stuff.
you and you've only been pointing over there.
No, I
and
haven't.
that's what
I've been
I see.
filming. I've been filming for about an hour and a half in the centre.
What, you've been stood here
No,
for
I
an hour
haven't
and
been
a half?
stood here for an hour
Okay,
and a
well,
half.
I've been stood here for
I've been filming that statue. I've been filming the bloke over there playing the flute. I don't have to explain myself to you.
Nobody's required to satisfy a police officer that he or she isn't committing an offence, but too many cops, such as this, regard themselves as travelling courtrooms, where they get to try members of the public on the spot for imaginary offences, simply because that person refused to surrender what little rights they do possess to move around freely. By the way, if you are the sort of person who thinks the police should be able to interrogate, ID and search whomever they want without reasonable grounds, just for the sake of making their job easier, then why not go vote for it in Parliament? Civil rights aren't just for the sake of criminals who don't want to be caught. Some of us are rightly cynical of agents of the state, and we tend to believe that the police should only act within the powers they've been granted by the legislator.
Aylesbury, do you know what's going on this
Of course I know
weekend?
the history
or
of
anything like
Aylesbury.
Okay, so you know the history of Aylesbury from...
Yeah. I've lived in Aylesbury.
It's not had the best press and everything in recent years in relation to certain people that lived in Aylesbury, has it?
I've absolutely no idea.
Do you know what's going on this weekend in Aylesbury?
Nothing to do with me.
And I'm not saying it's got anything to do with you.
I don't know what's going on this weekend, no.
Okay, so you don't know what's going on. Okay, so we got a big protest going on in Aylesbury this weekend.
Okay,
It's common knowledge.
I wasn't aware of that.
Okay,
Well, I
so
wasn't
obviously, from our perspective,
Yeah.
okay, we look at someone filming police operations and buildings and stuff.
I'm not
when there's-
filming police operations.
Well, we don't know that, do I?
What he's referring to here is an EDL march set for the following day, which in this cop's mind means an automatic prohibition of street photography the day before, even though no public order application has been made by the Chief Constable.
Coming on this weekend. Okay.
It's got nothing to do with me.
I'm not saying it's got anything to do with it, but it could have something to do with you. That's why I'm
Yeah,
asking.
I'm
But you're telling me that, but I've got no reason to believe it because you won't give me any details, so I
Do
can't
you want
check
to
you out
speak
for
to
your
your
system.
desk sergeant and ask them whether it's legal for me to film in public and whether I have
I know
to
it's
search
legal.
any-
I'm not saying it's not legal for you to film in
Well,
public.
why are you
I'm trying to
asking
find
me?
out your reasons why you're filming in public.
I've just told you that.
No, you haven't. You said you've told me
I
what
said
you're filming.
I said I was filming for posterity. I'm a photographer. It's my hobby. This is what I do. Every year in October, I film the centre of Aylesbury because it's a nice time of year. It's nice lighting, and it's if you look at the leaves and everything like that. From an artistic point of view, that's what I'm doing.
Okay. And so what's your reasons for not giving any details then?
Because I don't have to.
But that seems a bit if you're legitimately filming.
What's your reason for asking me for my personal details?
I'll explain to you. We've got a protest.
Yeah.
We've got history. There's possibility.
I'm not
could be
going to give you.
reconnaissance
Listen to me.
things.
I'm not going to give you my personal details, and that's final. Okay.
I don't know about you, but if I wanted to film some bored cops malingering around the town centre, some kind of extreme right-wing reconnaissance, I'd do it covertly, not stood in plain sight with a digital camera on a tripod. Not that it matters, because this cop has no interest in hearing the innocent explanation the cameraman repeatedly gives him. All the cop cares about is that his authority has been challenged in a public place, and he can't walk away for fear of losing face.
How would you like it if I just walked up to you and said, do you want to tell me what you're doing?
Simple thing is, right?
You might be wearing a police uniform.
I could search you.
But you're a public citizen.
I don't know what you're
exactly the same
filming.
as I am.
Okay, we've got potential protest on this. Well, we have got a protest on this weekend. Okay, between where it could. There's possibility trouble could be caused.
So
I don't know if
what's
you're
that got
involved.
to
I
do
don't
with
know
me
if
filming
well, I'm
on a
explaining to you if you listen to
Thursday,
me.
whatever it is,
Okay,
Wednesday?
so I don't know whether you're filming, whether
Yeah.
you're here for reconnaissance to possibly be involved in any sort of terrorist attacks. I'm not going to shout that out to the doubt. So I
I was
could
looking at reconnaissance. Surely I'll
see,
be on
here's an
Google
idea.
Earth or something.
Okay, you can provide me some identification, or I'm going to search you under the Terrorism Act.
No, you're not.
Okay, I will search you.
No, you won't.
Okay, if you're not going to comply to this, you can show me some ID and I can check you out.
This
I will search
conversation
you
could have been over a long time ago.
I said, well, fine, I'm going
No,
to search you on this
no,
everything.
no.
Anyway, if you're
No,
not
you're
going to,
not.
because you're filming buildings and landmarks, we've got a protest on, okay? You're not providing me any details, you're not providing me any reasonable excuse. I don't know who you are, okay? So I'm going to search you under the Terrorism Act and you
you're
should provide me some identification. I'll search you by force if I have to.
Are you really prepared to do that?
Yes.
I suggest you get your sergeant down here.
Okay, you can vote before I get my sergeant down here, but I will search you first.
No,
So I'm comfortable on decisions.
Well, I'm refusing to let you search me.
Okay, well, it doesn't work like that.
Yes, it does, because the search he's about to conduct is unlawful, and this man is entitled to use reasonable force to prevent it. Not that it would stop a cop from furthering an assault and battery. The fact is that the Terrorism Act is so often abused by police that it's one of those rare acts that has its own code of practice to safeguard the public from small-minded overlords such as this. Take this section, for instance, which states, There has been widespread concern amongst photographers and journalists about the use of stop and search powers in relation to photography. It is important that police officers are aware, in exercising their counter-terrorism powers, that A. Members of the public and media do not need a permit to film or photograph in public places. B. It is not an offence for a member of the public or journalist to take photographs, film of a public building. And C. The police have no power to stop the filming or photographing of incidents or police personnel.
Why? Stop resisting.
You're making a thing.
Do you want to get your sergeant down there?
That's all right. We'll take you to the station. We'll search at the station.
Really? You can take me to the station.
And then you can complain to the inspector and the sergeant directly there if you like.
I've got to pick my child up from preschool at 12:30.
Well, we're not even going to take you for search. If you've got nothing wrong, got nothing on you that's incriminating, and you'll be able to go, won't you? So
I'm going to be suing you for it.
We could be gone by now. If you'd given us your details in the first place, we'd be gone by now.
I'm not obliged to give you any details whatsoever.
At this point, the officer conducts a search without following proper procedure. Before any search begins, the police officer must identify himself, state which station he's from, state the object of the search and the grounds of the search, as well as the law he's acting upon. He only has to miss out one of these steps and the search becomes illegal, even if he has good grounds for making the search, which he certainly doesn't here. The only exception to this, a search is made under Section 60 of the Criminal Justice and Public Order Act, where a senior officer can lay down a blanket stop and search operation in a designated area for a period of 24 hours. That was not in force here, and even if it were, the police are obliged to tell you that it's in force, or again, the search will be illegal.
Take my bag off. Okay. Do it in my own time, okay? Don't start putting your hands on the bag.
okay, well, you'll have to take your bag off, and I'll search your bag. You got no one hanging on your top.
I don't know whether I have or not. I'm not required to by law, that's for sure.
We'll take that. Turn that off.
No, you're not going to turn it off. You're not going to turn my camera off. There you go.
Terrorism Act Code of Practice 4.13.5. The person being searched should never be asked or allowed to turn the device on or off because of the danger of evidence being lost or damaged.
I'm going to continue to film. Yeah.
Having searched the cameraman and found nothing, this officer then needlessly imprisons him further while he performs an unnecessary check to find out who he is, despite having no powers to do so. You aren't obliged to give your name to a police officer who searched you and found nothing.
So if you keep filming me, I'll seize it. If you're going to make a complaint, I'll seize you that as evidence of the complaint. So you can stop filming me.
No, it doesn't work like that.
Can you believe this cop is willing to further the assault he's already committed on this cameraman by threatening to seize his camera, just because he's voiced an intention to complain? Evidence of a complaint is not a criminal matter, so this cop has no powers under Section 19 of PACE to seize the camera. So the officer's threat can be considered an assault. The cameraman wants to sue this officer for assault, battery and false imprisonment, then get in touch with me and I'll show him how. Otherwise, this becomes yet another example of how the police get away with abusing their powers on a daily basis, and all because they can't resist the temptation to harass anyone who dares to film or photograph in the street. Unless, of course, you're a police officer wearing body-worn video, or a council controller operating one of the 6 million CCTV cameras that stare down at us 24 hours a day. Oh, and in case you're wondering how many terrorists have been stopped in the street under the Terrorist Act, searched and subsequently prosecuted, the answer is a big fat 0.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and leave comments below. Ooh, don't forget to hit that like button and share our videos. Thank you.